Hello, friends and family, people of the world. Greetings and salutations. Hail and well met. Welcome to another adventure in crafting, and to the fifth and final Steampunk Coffee Shop video where it all comes together. It took me several months to create what I envisioned. It was fun, challenging, sometimes aggravating, and I learned a lot during the creation of this project. One of the lessons was that I work really slowly, and I probably need to step up my pace if I'm going to keep making content for YouTube spectators. A sincere thank you to my patrons for supporting this build. Your names will be enshrined for eternity on the Steampunk Coffee Shop Wall of Heroes. The Steampunk Coffee Shop. With the war behind him, it was time for Haxel to start life again. Time to enjoy simply being alive and appreciate the ordinary things that became extraordinary in the face of annihilation. Haxel remembered how he had never felt more alive than when he was so close to death. Simple things took on a richer meaning in the moment. The senses were more keen and sharp. Every smell, every sight, every sensation might be the last. Mortality focused the mind. Simple things became important. Simple things like a cup of coffee. The sleepy, quiet little village he grew up in was not the same as Haxel remembered. Were the streets always this uneven? Were the houses always leaning this much, he wondered? The hardening of war made the faded familiarity of home uncomfortable. Life in Idlewild was soft and predictable. There were no surprises here. The one thing Haxel knew for sure was that he would open the best coffee shop in the valley. A town without good coffee and pastries was not a complete town, as his trench brother Lance Corporal Vernus would say. During the lulls between attacks, Haxel and Vernus would talk about what they missed back home. Vernus would talk about the coffee shop his family ran just down the street from his apartment. He missed the happy, murmuring voices, the warm smell of the sugar, flour, and cinnamon, the grinding whir of the espresso machine, the thick aroma of freshly ground coffee beans, and the voices of his sisters calling out customers' orders. It was Vernus that inspired him to want to open a coffee shop in Idlewild. The first time Haxel ever tasted coffee was in the trenches. In every ration kit was a small, square olive green packet of brown powder labeled caffeine component. When mixed with hot water, the powder tasted like shoe leather, but it was hot and invigorating, and if you shoveled in enough of the powdered milk, it wasn't bad. It was Lance Corporal Vernus who insisted that he needs to try real coffee one day, and one day he did, when a package from home arrived for Vernus. The cardboard shipping box was practically falling apart by the time the ragged convoy delivered it to the trenches, along with a load of supplies, provisions, and ammunition. The packages from home were a welcome treat, but the ammunition resupply meant the days ahead would be tough. In the disintegrating box that Vernus received, there was a dented tin with a steaming mug on the label. Vernus showed it to Haxel and said, "Get ready for your first cup of real coffee." Vernus pulled a small, worn coffee grinder from his pack, filled it with the dark beans from his tin, and with a few turns of the handle later, Vernus poured the grindings into a pot of hot water to steep. A couple of minutes later, he handed Haxel a battered tin mug with real, fresh brewed coffee. Haxel took a sip. His eyes widened and he looked at Vernus saying, "Wow, that's really good. How did we end up with compost they call coffee in our ration packs?" Vernus smiled and said, "Now you know what you're missing." They drank in silence in the muck and chaos of the trench, grateful for a moment of normalcy. Over the course of days, Vernus shared his coffee with Haxel until it ran out, and they were back to the powdered substance that was churned out by a distant factory. On the day they shared their last cup of coffee, their trenches were bombarded, cratered, and overrun by enemy forces. Haxel's platoon was scattered in the retreat. He wouldn't see Vernus again until years later, when he surprised Haxel as a customer in the coffee shop. They had stayed in contact through the postal system, exchanging letters and packages. It was through Vernus that Haxel was able to find coffee suppliers. The beans would arrive in large burlap sacks with writing that Haxel could not decipher. Somehow the sacks knew where to go. Haxel's coffee shop, rising from the ashes of destroyed homes, his own among them, brought the town together. It seemed everyone wanted to help. With the encouragement of the townsfolk, his vision of a small storefront grew to an opulent 3-story dance hall. Relatives that Haxel had never met came from nearby small towns with wagon loads of supplies and wood. The street was clogged with the pitched tents of workers and spectators. It was a month into the construction when a horse-drawn wagon arrived with the first shipment of coffee beans. The shipping manifest was signed by L.C. Vernus and accompanied by a short note that read, "I heard about your coffee shop. I thought the shipment of beans and pressure steamers would be useful. Your friend, Vernus."